Hello, welcome to Weird Mind Warrior. My name is John, and this channel is specialized in living with epilepsy. And I've been a peer support specialist. I am a peer support specialist, and I have been for a while. And I specialize in living with epilepsy. Like said, I've lived with epilepsy most of my life. I was diagnosed at the age of 8. So I can relate. I know this stuff of seizures and stuff. Today we're going to specialize in um, epilepsy, having epilepsy, but kind of carrying two disorder or two things. So you have epilepsy, and then a good chunk of people, like I think it's 12 or 13% of people with epilepsy can get diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I have one of those people. Now, the key thing to understand about epilepsy, um, you have your managing it and stuff, and you can work with all that. But living with epilepsy is almost a key thing to um, getting anxiety, depression, maybe bipolar like me. And then what goes along with causing some of those, not bipolar, but like anxiety and depression is the stigma of the world. Like they don't see you as a problem. Like, oh, we don't see anything. You're not in a wheelchair. That's complete bullshit, but that's how the world thinks. And, we all hate that. Um, and when it comes to like anxiety and the depression and then the stigma that we hear all the time that can cause the depression and anxiety, you don't hear about it too much. And sometimes when you talk to family, um, they don't understand. They act like, oh, that's not a problem. I had a family member, mother, who like sometimes when I brought up disorders or problems I was having with sometimes my mental health or the seizures going on or other health functions that needed help, she just acted like it was nothing. Like, hey, why are you worried about that? That's nothing. We all know that's not the right way to act to that. And a lot of us have situations like that. Now, one of my key things, I work on this, and this is not an easy thing to do uh, right now because of this being kind of difficult and to keep up with it or start new ones. I'm reading Atomic Habits, not advertising it, but that is a book I'm reading and I'm finding it very interesting and possibly very helpful, if I stick to some of the stuff they talk about. But in the building routines, so like for me, uh, I used to see a therapist like constantly because of this, and I still have them on like call if I need them, but I constantly, multiple times a month or at least once a month, I will talk to a peer support specialist like myself, but they help me deal with my mental health because even if I don't see a therapist constantly, I need someone to help me with my mental health, especially being diagnosed with bipolar. That doesn't help. And at home, I work with my own grounding techniques and things that help me stay level so my mental health doesn't get worse or it can be stabled if I'm having a problem for the day. And it can help sometimes with bipolar episodes. Things like deep breathing. I do that sometimes. Listening to music is a real key thing. Sometimes it matters what type of music, but for me, I have some key songs that are just completely good for my mental health. And everybody has a different choice of what songs are good for their mental health. There's no, these are the only ones. That's the one thing. I have friends that will listen to um, some of the songs you'd think no one listened to for mental health, but it makes them question things. It makes them think. I used to have it where I'd listen to a rock and roll song like Here We Go Again or something on the only road or the road again, whatever. It was by I think Whitesnake or something. Anyways, it made me think like, oh, I'm so like this is me. I do this all alone. And then I would argue with myself that, you know what? I actually have some friends, a few family members, and outside staff and stuff that I trusted that helped me through this whole process. a while ago, and it was a needed thing. There's other things like um, I did an article on my website, Weird Mind Warrior, that talks about like hitting the gym that can help with depression and anxiety in its own way. Uh, some of those things are also very good with um, epilepsy too. It can help with working, along with the anxiety or depression. It helps with keeping yourself more in shape and better health. Now, with epilepsy, there are some things that work and some things that are not really advised to do. That's a whole different story. Plus, I only talk to my doctor about what works for me, and that is one of the key things. Talk to your doctor what works for you. Um, I've taken walks. There are some things like in that article I wrote, and it points out weightlifting is a very good way to keep strengthened for your health, but it also works with depression. And like walking and aerobics is a good one for anxiety, like I wrote in that article, with some links to medical documents. Uh, Now, for me, this is the next article, living with the bipolar. So you have the epilepsy, which, daily routines work with, and the anxiety and depression, but bipolar is a little different. At this moment, my diagnosis is, according to the doctors at the university, in remission. Now, the key to understanding that is bipolar is not something that goes away, just like epilepsy, there's no cure for it. But there are ways to live with it and have a peaceful, good life, even if you have things. Me, I have occasional, I'll have things, and I have family that helps me, and we'll get to that. But also, if you have bipolar or episode, don't feel bad. According to studies with universities, if you look on you search it on Google, uh, just Google for epilepsy and bipolar, it can come up with Google scholarships. And if you do like Claude or a couple of those things, they can come up with a lot of links to articles and document pages and scholarship pages that explain um, if you have bipolar, you can have epilepsy more commonly. If you have epilepsy, it's more common, like I think 12% or above, you might have bipolar. Um, some of the studies came down to where 1 out of 8 people with epilepsy may also experience bipolar. So keep that in mind. Don't judge yourself if you have bipolar and you have epilepsy. It's more common than you'd think. There are a couple of key things that might cause the bipolar. So for me, and this is not, I can't, like, don't, I'm not a scientist. So I'm not saying my epilepsy caused my bipolar disorder or the other way around. It's just everything is a little different for everybody, but it's a thing to talk to your doctors about. And even if they can't completely connect the two, 100%, they can help you work with it if you have both. Now, like there's overlapping brain chemistry, both involve the same part or system of your brain. So that's kind of unique. That's a thing they connect, but they're not positive on that. Like they don't know specifically if you have that. That's what I'm talking about. There's also sensitivity called kindling. It becomes more sensitive after repeated episodes and can increase your seizures and increase manic episodes. So that's a kind of interesting thing. Now, me living with bipolar, even with doctors saying it's in remission, uh, family members, especially my wife, can point out because we manage it. That's the good part. We manage it. But they can all point out that even I still have to take medicine to help control it. Um, because if I don't take my medicine daily, my wife especially, she knows me down to the bone. She can point out I changed different behaviors. I'm more sensitive to things like I'm a little bit more moody or I get a little more irritated easily, stuff like that. She's a complete citizen or witness to that. And she's very good at telling me when I have that stuff and like, you better take your medicine or, not met her, but it's a good idea to check your medicine and stuff, which is good. And that's the kind of stuff I think is good, even if it's not complete like marriage or brother and sister. If you have roommates or you see staff constantly, I used to see them all the time. So I I understand that completely. It took me a long time before staff wasn't completely needed. Like I said, I still see a peer support specialist, but I don't have daily or weekly staff anymore like I used to back in the old days. Um, but it's all things like they can help you like notice certain changes in your behavior, your attitudes, your all that stuff, and that can help you link, hey, I need to take my medicine. Like I said, I have it in remission according to the university doctors, but there is daily notices if I don't take my medicine or I take it too late, anything like that. It's a constant system I have to follow if I want to stay positive with that. Now, one of my key things you, you need to understand, and this is a good one, and this is where peer support and other people, like my peer support, like I said, is specialized in people with epilepsy because I live that same life. I've lived it since the age of 8, like I said. Um, the key thing with that is uh, no one should fight this alone. There, no, not epilepsy, not bipolar, or not with once both at the same time. There's ways and people that can help you. And that's the good part. You're not on this alone. And they're like, I love this. There are groups all across social media. Logged in a whole bunch on Facebook, and there's so many people that can relate to my symptoms, my way, like how I've lived because of this stuff. Like sometimes the manic episodes, like I can talk about the past ones, or I can talk about how I feel like I want to have one and stuff. It's amazing when you talk to the community how you're not completely alone when you live with this stuff. So I recommend, and don't take me as a doctor or something, but in my experience as a peer support, the more you can know or talk with people related to you in things like epilepsy or bipolar or living with both, the more you don't feel alone and the more you feel like you have support, someone to, you can talk to the community about like you're having this, what would you guys do? So I think that is completely helpful. You just talk to somebody about it instead of feeling like you're alone. Now, I hope this video helped in some way. I'm leaving some links to some of the the studies that I've looked into or things that connect some of this. I have other articles about mental health and living with epilepsy from like telling a family member to the exercise I referred to and so on. I'm going to leave links to those too. Um, but if this was helpful for you, I hope subscribed, share, and maybe hit a like. And if you know someone who might need to hear this, someone else with epilepsy or bipolar that they feel alone, let them know. Hit the share button and give them a little document or something to help them. That's what I do. I talk to people all the time. But yeah, uh, oh, and just I'm always going on. But also, I started a newsletter about living with epilepsy and mental health and stuff. So if you want to, I'm going to leave a link in this that can set you up for a newsletter, and it's to get more help, tools, better like education from like other videos that are more scientific, like TED Talks and stuff that maybe you didn't know about. But I hope you guys have a good day and thank you.